I'd like to start this video by saying that I am not encouraging people to send hate. This channel is not about rage baiting or cyberbullying or cancel culture. In fact, these are the two books that I recommend about these topics. They have personally helped me navigate internet culture better, so I highly recommend them. What we are here to discuss today is a growing social issue in Japan that we can hopefully contribute to resolving by putting some ideas out there. Hi, my name is Mizhelle. You're watching Tokyo Past 3. Welcome to another episode of This Week in Japan, where we talk about what's buzzing across Japanese media. So here's what exactly went down. Fitness influencer Maria del Mar Perez Banus, who goes by the nickname Marimar, posted a video on her Instagram account where she was doing a pull-up trend, which by all means would be one of those perfectly forgettable videos that you just scroll past, except for one tiny detail. She was doing these pull-ups using a torii, or a shrine gate. In another video on the same account, her sister can also be seen doing handstands while going down the stairs of the said shrine. Ayo. If it isn't clear why this is problematic behavior, let me spell it out. Shrines are spiritual places, and torii gates function as sacred gateways. They mark the boundaries between our world and the realm of the kami, or the Shinto gods. I mean, it doesn't really take a lot to understand that these places should be respected. These so-called influencers, while now based in the US, were born in Chile, and both these countries have churches, mosques, and other places of worship that require similar respectful behavior. I'm not sure if they were aiming to rage bait or they were simply too focused on content creation that everything else just serves as background for their videos. But they did go viral, alright? The videos that they posted were picked up by a multitude of media outlets and sparked debates on the Japanese, Spanish, and English-speaking sides of Twitter, or X, where some people even called for their arrest, and even an apology from the Chilean government. And by the way, yes, you can get arrested if you pull stunts like these. Under Article 188 of the Japanese Penal Code, you can be punished with imprisonment of up to 6 months and a fine of up to 100,000 yen if you desecrate a place of worship. This incident hits particularly hard in Japan because it's part of a much bigger problem. There's a specific term for this in Japanese, and that's meiwaku gaikokujin, literally meaning nuisance foreigner, and they didn't come up with this term for no reason. Let me just give you a few examples of what Japanese sites have been dealing with in recent years. There's a Canadian teenager who thought it'd be cool to vandalize a 1,200-year-old temple in Nara. There are tourists who harass and photograph geisha and maiko without permission. And one that you've probably heard of is the Lawson Mount Fuji case, where tourists were trespassing, jaywalking, littering at this particular branch of Lawson, a convenience store, just because it happens to have a view of Mount Fuji. It got so bad that the government had to put up a barricade to block this view so that people wouldn't come here anymore. But here's where things get complicated. It's not about individual bad actors, it's about an entire system that's built around turning every experience into content. The pressure to create eye-catching, viral content is real. I mean, when your livelihood depends on engagement, there's this constant push to one-up your last post. And I get it, I'm a travel creator myself, but it's never an excuse to disrespect the culture of the place you're visiting. Social media can be this amazing tool for cultural exchange, but instead we're seeing it fuel this kind of entitled mindset where everything, even religious sites, gets reduced to just another backdrop for content creation. Now, Marimar did eventually apologize, and she even included a Japanese translation, which I guess shows some awareness. Some people were satisfied with the apology, some thought it was too little too late, but I think the bigger question moving forward is, at what point do influencers have the responsibility to do research before they hit record? And what can Japan do to prevent these incidents from happening in the first place? I've mentioned this in the channel before, but as someone who works in the travel industry, I am pro implementing taxes for tourists. One, because these taxes go back to the destinations that they visit, into maintaining them and making them better. And I don't know, but I feel like if you pay for something at a significant price, you'd probably think twice about desecrating it or pulling some idiotic stunt. I also think that visitor caps can help, and we've seen this in Mount Fuji for the climbing season this year, where the number of people who were able to enter or do the climbing experience we're limited to a certain number. For me, what would make a bigger, longer lasting impact is looking into the philosophy of travel. We need to highlight mindful tourism, where we move away from self-centered travel where everything else is just a backdrop for your photo or for your video, and move towards using travel as a lens with which we can look at different ways of life, because this will eventually allow you to understand your own values and priorities. I know it's a little bit eat, pray, lovey, but you probably get my drift. As content creators, we need to stop sensationalizing, maybe starting with phrases that are overused and senseless, like Japan is living in the future. Like, what the even is that? Like, don't get me started with that. It just... We need to start treating destinations as what they really are. Someone else's home, someone else's sacred space, someone else's daily reality. Real cultural exchange isn't about getting the perfect shot or following some trend that will eventually die down. It's about learning, growing, and preserving these incredible places and traditions for future generations. Now, if you want my tips on how to travel around Japan, I have a whole playlist for that, and I hope to see you there. This has been Mizhelle for Tokyo Past 3. Let's make wise decisions. Bye!